Hi, welcome to Central News for Tuesday the 8th of November. I'm Katrina McKinley. In today's news, the Waikato River Authority have a big task ahead of them. They are currently accepting applications from businesses with ideas on how to clean up the Waikato River or utilise it. But the applicants have to fit a certain criteria in order to be considered for funding.
Well, we've taken a lot of time in working out what we think the priorities are, and we've determined priorities for the lower part of the river, and that includes the lakes and the fisheries in particular, and the upper part of the river, riparian planting, preventing runoff and all that sort of stuff, and then the Waipa River. Sediment load is a big problem, so we've tried to give some indication of priorities, but if people have got good ideas, and particularly if they're going to have a great community input or an industry input, we'd like to use our money as seed funding as much as anything to encourage others to do more with the river.
The Inland Revenue Department has the power to physically search through businesses and homes with a warrant. Greg Harris, tax specialist from Deloitte, says while this is only for extreme cases, it is a necessary course of action for some situations.
Well, essentially when they've exhausted all avenues of getting the information, and this may not necessarily be the money, this may be just getting books and documents and records, and they have to know that there's a likelihood that the records will be stored on the person's house.
Greg says people shouldn't be worried unless they are committing tax fraud and evading the IRD.
No, I don't think the powers are too broad. I think honest people have nothing to worry about. You know, the majority of New Zealanders believe in paying taxes. They want to use roads, schools, hospitals and the like. So honest taxpayers have nothing to worry about, but there's always a small contingent that don't want to cooperate with the IRD, and for these people you do need special powers. But I would just say that, again, just to reiterate, the Inland Revenue don't take these powers lightly. There would be no one person in there that would decide to do a raid on someone's house. It's actually, they have to go through quite an extensive internal process, and normally by the time they do that process or get through the other end of it, they have exhausted all avenues first of getting it through conventional means.
The Young Workers Resource Centre has teamed up with the Waikato Student Union to get out in the community and encourage young people to get enrolled this year and appreciate their influence they can have on the way our country is run. The influence of being young themselves has helped with their efforts.
I think people can connect to us and what we're saying, and they can see themselves in the system and being a part of it because we're a part of it. Just it's more approachable and you can relate to people so much better and have a conversation that's more relevant and kind of youth focused than sometimes, I guess, unfortunately you see some sort of older people, and it's a bit more difficult to go and approach them and get enrolled when they're the other ones doing it. So yeah, definitely having youth doing it for youth is a big thing. Yeah.
Kylie from the Young Workers Resource Centre says a change in the way government is managed could encourage more young people to get involved.
I think that the traditional ways of getting young people enrolled to vote work for generally the older population. However, what we're finding, as our statistics are showing, young people aren't engaging in that strategy. And so we need to get some strategies that are for young people and probably run by young people. In addition to this, I actually think it would be really important if we had education in secondary schools, which actually helped young people understand the importance of being enrolled to vote, and that actually voting will help make a difference in their future, because right now that connection's not quite been made because we're so disengaged from the system.
The number of people playing rugby in the Bay of Plenty Rugby Union's catchment area has increased 5% more since last year, but it is not necessarily because of the Rugby World Cup. Bay of Plenty Rugby Union Operations Manager Neil Elton says the increase in the region of under 12-year-old player numbers is largely due to Ripper Rugby. In the 2011 season, there were 8,924 rugby players in the region compared with 8,504 in 2010. Time to check out the region's weather. It is looking pretty good in both Tauranga and Hamilton tomorrow with just a few showers. Hamilton, you're heading for a high of 21 and a low of 10. Meanwhile, in Tauranga, you'll have a high of 20 and a low of 14. Coming up after the break, we hear from Matamata BMX President Bob McGrail. Tennis coach Clem Apted is talking about summer tennis, and we have tips on how charities can get the most from the media. Join me after the break.